What you see there lying on the table is a common air blower and a bottle cap that's been modified to turn it into a fizz-giz cap. The fizz-giz cap has a little valve that you can see up here. It has a hole in it, and the valve goes through the cap, and it's a one-way valve that allows you to, with a pressure source, you can inject, gas under pressure. In this particular case, we're talking about carbon dioxide gas used to carbonate soft drinks. So I'm going to show you how to do that with a device that I call the soda rope. The soda rope uses a paintball tank as a source of CO2. Now this particular paintball tank has an on-off valve. Take a look. Okay, you can turn it on and off with this knob. Most of the paintball tanks have a valve like this. They're common in that both of them have a safety pop-off valve, or a burst disc if you want to call it that, should the pressure in the tank build up too high. This is a safety mechanism that allows the gas to blow off and vent, as opposed to, blowing up a tank or blowing a valve out. And other than this valve having its own on-off mechanism that you can operate yourself, the valves are pretty much the same. Now this valve here, the way it's turned on and off, it has a pin in the middle, and things that you screw on to this valve push this pin down, and that opens up the flow of the CO2. I personally think that the on-off valves are much nicer and much cooler than the pin valves, and I recommend that people use those. This is my soda rope base unit. It's simple. It screws onto the top of the tank. Very, very simple to do. You can see this. And if you turn the tank on, you see, you get gas released from the tank into the base unit, which has its own pressure regulator, regulating the pressure of that gas so that it is safe to put it into common soda bottles. It puts it in at the same level of pressure that you pick these soda bottles up at the supermarket beverage aisle. So this bottle is a perfectly acceptable bottle to use if it's a soda bottle or a seltzer bottle. These are bottles that are made out of PET plastic, or polyethylene terephthalate. The plastic is very, very strong, and that's why companies like Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, Snapple, and all of your big bottling companies and soda manufacturers like to use this cheap, really handy, now most companies BPA free PET plastic. So let's show you how it works. Let's take our soda rope apart and hook it up. Really, really simple. These cool little quick disconnect fittings let you just take the end of the tube, push it in, boom, presto, you're connected with a nice, good, tight connection. So we turn the gas on, and now you've got gas, okay? Not going to carbonate anything like that. Let's see how you do it. Got some nice cold water in a recycled Tropicana orange juice bottle. So we're going to pour ourselves out a nice little 12-ounce drink here. Pour it up to about the shoulders. It's a good idea to burp your bottle. You don't have to do it, but it's a good idea. Expel all the air. Gets rid of the oxygen. Oxygen is the enemy of food. So now we have this cool bottle that's, burped of all of its air, and we're going to take this bottle and we're going to shoot some CO2 in it. It's cold water, and we're shooting CO2 in this bottle here at about 125, 130, 140 psi. Notice the bubbles slow down. As the pressure inside the bottle builds up to the pressure at which you are dispensing it, it gets slower and slower and slower. I could sit here for hours or days holding this, and your bubbles would slow down eventually to just a trickle. One bubble like every 15 seconds, and after a while it finally just stops. Okay, so we've got a nice, really tight bottle here. I'll show you how tight it is by hammering on it just a little bit with this. So that bottle is really, really pressurized, to about what you get at the store. Let me shake it up good. Okay, Now the bottle is a little bit softer than it was because when you shake it up, the CO2 that was up here in the headspace moves and mixes in, so there's more room for it to go and the pressure falls down just a little bit. So I'll shake it a little more. All right, and we'll maybe put one more shot of it. CO2. And that's good enough. Okay, so give her one more good shake to thoroughly mix the CO2 in there. And I'll turn off the soda rope, bleed the pressure from the system. Okay, so that's it. Unscrew it. And you don't have to unscrew it. You can leave it on there. But I'm doing it for demonstration purposes. And you still got your paintball tank. And anytime it's empty, you can take it and get it filled up. This particular tank here is a 16-ounce tank, so it will hold 1 pound of CO2. That's a lot of grams of CO2. I cannot remember exactly how many that is, but basically it's enough, sufficient to make yourself 160 of these bottles, these 12-ounce bottles. Okay, let's open it up and get a look at what we created. Okay, so there's carbonated water. Now that carbonated water is just as highly carbonated as any that you will ever make on your own, or any that you'll ever buy on the supermarket shelf, and it'll be just as refreshing if you mix it with your own syrup. This is a milk jug that I've got sun-kissed orange soda syrup in, and it makes the sun-kissed orange soda, and my cameraman is drinking a sun-kissed orange soda now, halfway consumed. All right, so that's how it's done. Okay, if you want to pick up a soda rope, then you can find them at www.fizzgiz.com.